Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's show, Freedom Frequency. And I'm also going live on Instagram. And let me click the button here. Okay, now it's working. This is the second time I'm going live on Instagram. Um, so we're the 23rd of November already. This is just crazy, just crazy. And I'm talking about some interesting things today. So I'll talk about, Twitter and how I think it's the most censored platform, you know, and I'll talk about belief system boxes because they are everywhere. People putting themselves in belief system boxes. So I will go more in depth on that topic. So, but before we go on, please like, share, and subscribe if you like my content, if you're new to my channel. So, and I'm seeing my wife's in the chat. Hi. She's downstairs, I'm upstairs. Um, so, seeing more people signing on now, that's good. So, Twitter is the most controlled platform. And it's not Facebook, it's not Instagram. TikTok is close. TikTok is close. TikTok is a close second. But Twitter is truly, in my opinion, the most censored platform. And people will say like Twitter. We can say what we want on Twitter. Well, yes, you can, but Twitter is the most censored in the sense that it shadow bans you the most. And I've talked about this in the past, and I've seen it so much. And I'm going to give some examples in this show. But let me first say hi to some people in the comments. Hi, Fire Within. Good to see you. Your birthday is tomorrow. That's happy birthday. So happy early birthday. Happy early birthday for you. Um, we're actually Sagittarius season, right? We just entered Sagittarius. I didn't think about it. We just entered Sagittarius season. I'm a Sagittarius too. My birthday is I think in 2 weeks or something. I love Sagittarius season. I love the winter. I don't like the spring and the autumn so much. I love the summer the most, and then the winter because beautiful winter days with lots of sun. I don't like the wind and the rain that you have in the autumn, and like especially in Belgium. In Canada, it's not that bad, but in Belgium, it's the wind and the rain can be really really bad. Really bad in Belgium. So yeah, so let me continue on. So Twitter, it's really bad, and I'm going to give you examples. So let me give you the first example here. Well, first I want to say something about Twitter. So something really funny. So recently Twitter did a change in the way they show the profiles, the user profiles to the people, and now you can see where the people are based from. So if you're like posting and you're based in for example, I'm saying Belgium, for example, it will show based in Belgium. Now, what turns out now that they did this change, it turns out that a lot of accounts are being revealed where they're from, and it's really funny because this account, for example, Ultra Maga, so a huge Trump supporter. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you. Called William Albrecht. He's based in Nigeria. This is just so funny, right? So here's another one. American Voice. So a good-looking American guy X. He's based in India. With lots. All these accounts have lots of followers. I mean, it's just so funny. It just shows how fake it sometimes is, right? Because these people, this probably a Nigerian and an Indian that they know America as a strong economy, and they just made a Twitter account posting stuff with which they get popular with, promoting Trump because Trump is popular, being the American guy, and they're like Indian, and Nigerian. I think it's just so funny. It just shows how fake it sometimes is, all that stuff, right? And that brings me to my point on Twitter. Like, Twitter is so heavily censored because the algorithm is really going to promote you if you like Elon Musk. So if you like transhumanism, if you like Trump, it's if you like this what I call the new mainstream media that is on X, like Joe Rogan, Brett Weinstein, all that stuff. If you're posting that, then the algorithm is going to reward you. If you're doing true free speech, voicing the algorithm is going to suppress you. It's the most controlled platform, with TikTok being close. But on TikTok, everyone runs. On TikTok, if they don't like you, I had lots of videos blocked on TikTok. I'm on all social media, so I can see it. I've been on all social media for a while now, And I can clearly see which platform is the most controlled, and it's Twitter of Elon Musk, hands down. I've had videos. I make short videos too. I had short videos getting hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook and Instagram, but on X, nothing, zilch, nada. And that's the case with a lot of other creators who are really not dancing to the tune of Elon Musk, right? It's like, that's uh, uh, Elon Musk took over Twitter. He bought Twitter and he was going to make it free speech. And yes, you are allowed to say what you want. You're not going to get blocked, but you're going to have no exposure. Nobody's going to see your posts if you post something that they don't like. So it's actually the same form of censorship. It's the same form of censorship. So let me say hi to some more people in the comments. So hi Frequency, hi Zania D, and let me know where you're from. For the people who are new maybe or haven't let me know immediately. From some of you, I kind of start to remember where you're from. Zania D says, I really dislike X. I read posts but never post anything. Yeah, it's every platform has a different energy, but X is totally controlled. Frequency says, I expose geoengineering on my channel. I get shadow banned heavily. Yeah, it's the shadow banning on X is just crazy. Fire Within says your videos are for sure. Yeah, and I'm going to give examples. There's other people too. It's not only me, of course. There's a lot of people. Zania D says Southern England. I love Southern England. That's Stonehenge, Avebury. I love those places. Frequency, the Netherlands. Oh, you speak Dutch. Oh, from Calgary. Love it. Jotstar from Calgary. Yes, we might. We're going to live in. We're planning to move to Alberta. As Meg obviously already said on her channels, we're going to move. We're looking to move to Alberta, so we might visit Alberta soon. And yeah, I've been to Alberta last year, and if I have to live in Canada, because of course Meg wants to move back to Canada, and I'm ready for the change. I'm ready for the jump. I think Alberta is a good place. I mean, I like it more than the Toronto region, because that's so many people there, so many woke and immigration there. I mean, it's not. I like Canada. It's not a bad place, but the GTA is not for me. It's too busy for me. I like something more quiet Albertan countryside stuff. Like I'm in the country, based in the countryside in Belgium, and I love the countryside. So that's what it is. I like Alberta. It's a lot more chill, in my opinion. So we welcome you here to Alberta. Oh, thank you, Judstar. That's really nice. that's nice to hear that we will be welcomed there. So let me continue. So Twitter is what I was saying. So Elon Musk bought Twitter, right? And then he turned into X, and he said it's going to be the free speech platform. Why was Elon Musk able to buy Twitter, which was like a totally woke place and heavily controlled? Why was he able to? Why did they even let him buy that? Because it was controlled by the agenda, right? Because Musk is just the same. It's just another accent. They're switching sides. They're playing good cop, bad cop. That's what they're doing. And X is also it's the most controlled. It's the most controlled. And it's very sneaky in its way, because TikTok is very controlled, but TikTok is more honest. Like I said, I had videos banned on TikTok, but they're like, okay, we don't like your video, boom, it's banned. But on X, no, on X they'll do it in a more sneaky way. They'll push you down. Nobody sees your stuff, and you're gonna get you can't spread your message. So let me give a few examples. Give a few examples of that. But before I continue, I also want to remind people. So I have my show, my course, 14 Days to a Higher Vibration. The link is in the comments. It's in these times, I think it's really important to raise our vibration because there's so much negativity on social media, like on X. It's really important to check in with ourselves, to really build that foundation in ourselves that is not dependent on the outside world, to work on uplift our vibration. And in this course, I teach you all the techniques. I work with these techniques daily. I've been doing them for over 20 years. It's a complete package, 14-day program, and you will be able to use these tools for years to come. So check it out if you're interested. So back to the topic. So let me give you an example here. For example, this is Shannon Joy, and she has like about 60,000 followers on Twitter. I like what she posts, and she says, that her accounts, her account generates a lot of impressions, but she gets no growth at all. And the 60,000 followers she got was actually from doing hard work on her mailing list and inviting people. And so she feels that she's being shadow banned. And I feel it too. Okay, my account on X is not as big as hers, but I see exactly the same thing. Is because once you go against Elon Musk, once you don't dance to the tune that the Joe Rogan tune, the transhumanist tune, the Brett Weinstein tune, then you're done. And I remember there was this guy, what's his name? There was this guy I used to see every day on Twitter. I saw his posts every day because he was promoting Musk. He was promoting, Trump, MAGA. What was his name? Oh, I forget his name now. And I used to see his post on my feed every day, and I wasn't even subscribed to him. And then suddenly, he starts changing his tune. He starts speaking out against Israel and all that stuff. And he starts speaking out against Elon Musk. And now I don't see his posts at all. So it's obvious the algorithm. If you're saying what you that new alt right, then it's so controlled. For me, it's basically X is useless for me. I'm sorry, X is basically useless for me. And I'm seeing another person saying hi from Belgium, from Ghent. Hi, Joshua Amitai. So let me say this. See, Jotstar says Daniel Smith and Alberta just introduced the Jordan Peterson Bill 13 to allow freedom of speech here, so professionals can speak their minds and opinions on social media without being persecuted. I love that. That's why I like what Alberta does. I like Alberta because there's still more a sense of freedom there. It's also Canada, of course, but there's still more a sense of freedom there. Anyway, so let me give you some examples. So here, this is a tweet from somebody. He says, my post, this is another example, my post visibility is regularly limited and my account has been locked multiple times due to mass reporting. Elon Musk's commitment to free speech seems to apply selectively. Once you criticize Israel, your account is at risk of being removed. Right? Here's another one. Twitter. So this is this one here. So this is Twitter. So X is complying with more government demands under Elon Musk. So see, it's he's saying, oh, it's free speech, but it's actually not. Because if you look at the stats, as this article outlines here, the company has not refused a single request since Musk took ownership, according to self-reported data. So he's actually complying more with the government demands. It's all smoke and mirrors. Here, another one. Under Elon Musk, Twitter has approved 83% of censorship requests by authoritarian governments. The social network has restricted and withdrawn content critical of the ruling parties in Turkey and India, among other countries, during the electoral campaigns. I mean, and I see it. I see it, and other people see it, as I've shown in the examples. It's absolutely crazy. Frequency says the closer you are to truth on X, the more you get shadow banned. Yes, exactly. I think Elon Musk is sneaky. He's sneaky. He's like, he's like the Pied Piper for transhumanism. Then I like TikTok more, because on TikTok they just block you if they don't like you. That's actually okay. It's clear, you violated our whatever woke policies they have, and that's it. Right? On Twitter, it's a lot more sneaky. It's a sneaky energy, and it's also the feed is like, I see so many things of violence on Twitter. I don't like it, to be honest. Let me see if there's some more comments here I would like to comment on. Frequency says, I would love to move to Canada or somewhere in Scandinavia. I just don't have the means. Somewhere far away from the big cities. The Netherlands feels like a prison more and more. Yeah, well, it's the same with Belgium, I mean, I still think you can have a good life here. I mean, I'm lucky to live in the countryside in Belgium. I'm not saying, Belgium and the Netherlands are like, open air prisons. I'm not saying that. Some people, and you need to have the means, that's true too. But yeah, I still think the United States is one of the countries that is really one of the best countries, I think, when it comes to freedom, like individual freedom, with the founding fathers, the document. I have a brain fart now. What's that document called? The Constitution. The Constitution. It's it's still, I think it's still, of course, every country has problems, right? But I still like the United States, or some areas. But the thing is, Belgium and Holland are so small. It's basically all the same here. Still in Canada, Canada is so big. In the United States, you have regions where there's like, you have states where, or provinces where there's like local differences, right? Where there's more freedom in one area. But Belgium and Holland are so small. There's none of that. It's all like the same. Of course, there's differences, between provinces, but it's not like, as big as the differences that you have in the States or in Canada between provinces. Zuni Dovi says, I rarely go on X anymore. Jens, are you on Telegram? Yes, I'm on Telegram too. I am on Telegram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok and X also. Jodestar says, Canada is so corrupt, my only hope is Alberta and Saskatchewan. Yeah, well, it's the same thing in Belgium, it's the same thing in Belgium. Frequency said, you can't hide in Belgium. It's very different to live in a small country like Belgium. Or the Netherlands is a bit bigger, right? 15 million people, and Belgium is like 10 million people. And Belgium is actually Flanders, because we don't have any connection with the French-speaking part, because we don't have the same media. It's basically a bit of an artificial country. Flanders is even smaller. So in Flanders, if I'm talking about Belgium, where I'm from Flanders, it's even worse, because it's only 5 million people. Netherlands has 15 million people. I feel the Netherlands is better. I feel the Netherlands is a little bit better, honestly, than Flanders, because I feel the Dutch people are a little bit more ahead when it comes to spirituality and speaking out. There's also beautiful people in Belgium that speak truth, but I feel it's different. In Belgium, it's sometimes, I feel like there's a little bit more sometimes of a small-minded mentality, also in awake circles in Belgium compared to Holland, and that's just my honest opinion. That's just my honest opinion. Yeah. So let's see if I have anything else on Twitter. No, my portion of shitting on Twitter on X is done for the day. Okay, let's move on to the main subject, and that is this. And I've created this graphic here for it. Is belief system boxes, and we are all locked into belief system boxes in a way. All of us have belief systems. All of us have beliefs, consciously and subconsciously. And I actually talk about that a lot in my course that I mentioned in the beginning. Also, to release your beliefs, I have a whole module in the course on that. Because the more we release our limiting beliefs, the more free we become. A lot of us are actually keeping ourselves inside of our own prison, and we don't even realize it. And those are boxes of belief system. Your beliefs determine your perception, and if you have very, very strong beliefs, they work like a horse has like these things on, like this, like a horse that with these things on. That's how very limiting beliefs function. It disempowers our field, it shrinks our field of perception. So that's why, in my opinion, the less beliefs you have, the better it is. And I see people having boxes of beliefs even in the truth community. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit more. Because, for example, when I post something online, and I'm saying, for example, saying something about Candace Owens, something a little bit positive about Candace Owens, and immediately people go like, oh, she's a shill, she's controlled opposition. And you know what, maybe you're right, I don't know, I can't look inside her head, but and then people are like dissing you, or you're not awake because you're not this or that, because you say this or that. So it's so bad in the truth community also, and not in Belgium, but outside of Belgium too. Like, oh, you don't believe in flat earth, oh, you don't believe the earth is flat, you're believing in the psyop of the round earth, man. You're believing in the side that the earth is a globe. Like, it's so, like, seriously, people, it's so stupid. Like, okay, I respect if you believe in flat earth, or if you believe Candace is a psyop, or whatever. I respect your opinion, and I'm not going to call you names, or going to call you stupid, or I'm not going to say you're not awake, like point a finger, like you're not awake because you believe that. So it's totally ridiculous. And I see so many people in the truth community, like they think they know it all, right? They think they know it all. They're like, oh, you're not awake because no, can we respect each other's opinion, please? And can we not like diss each other? Okay, we can disagree and we can talk about it, and that's what free speech should be. But it's okay to say, if you voice your opinion, okay, I think Candace is a sire. But if you then start pointing the finger, oh, you're not awake, or you're this or that, like I feel a lot sometimes. I feel it, and you can see it in their words. Like there's judgment because you're not believing what they're believing. But actually, those judging you are in a box of belief system because they don't want to consider anything outside of their belief system. That is the problem, right? I I run with my intuition and evidence, and I'm willing to change my opinion if um, if information. I recently saw somebody say, if you have a big platform with millions of followers, you are controlled opposition no matter what. Not every, but I don't believe that, because not everything. If you have that kind of belief, you're immediately you're limiting yourself, because anybody that has like a million followers, you're going to consider control opposition without any evidence. You're going to consider that person control opposition because you believe, because your belief tells you, not because you're feeling your intuition or because the evidence shows so. No, you just have that belief, and you're immediately gonna stamp these people as control opposition based on your belief. That is not the way to work with me. And I see so many people doing that. I see so it's and Zuni Dove says the new age community is full of boxes of beliefs. We need to master discernment in these times. It's not one size fits all. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Exactly. It's so stupid, And of course, we all have belief systems, right? We're human, right? I have beliefs, I admit, I we all have boxes, but try to limit. Don't try to make these boxes like really like tight knit. Be open to other things, right? And don't judge. That is the most important thing. Don't judge. Don't attack people because they have different beliefs. Respect each other's opinion. I mean, it's 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 so simple, but some people don't seem to get it. They're like, oh, and you know what the next step is then is, if you say too much things that they don't like, that doesn't fit their belief system, then they're going to call you controlled opposition. Oh, you're controlled opposition because you don't talk about this or that. You're a gatekeeper. Okay, there are true gatekeepers. I think some people function as gatekeepers without knowing, right? And there are people being planted as gate. I think Elon Musk is like somebody like that, like controlled opposition, pretending to be for speeches, but not. But then again, not everything is a conspiracy. Not everything is a conspiracy. Some people are like gone down maybe a little bit too deep down the rabbit hole. I mean, it's good to go deep down the rabbit hole, but keep your discernment, keep your grounding. Keep your grounding. It's so important. So important. It's like the same thing, divide and rule. I'm gonna say something here that a lot of people may not like, and I don't want to sound judgmental, right? But being awake is not about knowing the conspiracies in the world. Being awake is about developing your consciousness, letting go of your belief systems, growing, healing. That is being awake, being truly awake. And it's a process we're all, and there's no end to it. You don't arrive at the top of the mountain and then you suddenly know it all. Because some people behave like they're on the top of the mountain and they know it all. And they're judging others because they are not on their proverbial top of the mountain. But that's not, being aware of the conspiracies is not being awake. I mean, I'm talking semantics here. Having an open heart, healing, growing in consciousness, seeing through the illusions, growing as a soul, growing spiritually, emotionally, growing emotionally, not being like little children emotional, growing emotionally, growing spiritually. That is being awake. Not, believing the earth is flat or believing Canis is a psyop, or believing, everything about the conspiracies. That is one form of awake. But being truly awake is awakening your soul, awakening to the light of consciousness that is within you. The consciousness that is within you, that is awakening. And everybody's learning and healing and growing on this planet, and really run away from those who say they know it all, because those who say they are on the proverbial mountain, because it's BS. Even the best teachers here on planet Earth are learning, and that's absolute truth. So I've seen, I've been here in the truth community in Belgium too, and I've seen some people like, and I don't want to be judgmental, but I've seen some people like acting like they know it all, but it's you can fool a lot of people by pretending to be know-it-all and coming across as very how would I say this, very secure, coming across as very confident. You can fool a lot of people with that, but the energy doesn't fool me, and I see a lot of people pretending to know it all, but really I just don't resonate with them. Let me say that. Let me say that. I like people. I like, how would I say it? What's the most important thing in life? It's not to be aware of, in the end, when you leave this body, when you go to, another dimension, the most important thing is not to know, if Candace Owens is a psyop, or if the earth is flat or round. The most important thing is the love, the consciousness, the growth you had, the growth in love, the growth in consciousness, the wisdom you distilled from your experience. That's the most important thing, and that's maybe where we should put our focus on more. And I see it on my own social media and I do both things. Okay, I do conspiracy, but I also do spirituality, and I consistently see my conspiracy content getting a lot more traction than my spirituality content, because it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, I would be happy if my spirituality content would get a lot more traction than my conspiracy content. But, I do both things. I don't do conspiracy, because it gets more traction, because that's what I am about. I think we need both. And I've spoken so much about this, we need both conspiracy awareness and spiritual awareness. But in the end, the spiritual awareness is the most important. That is my opinion. It's in our current times, we need both. We need the conspiracy and we need the spirituality. But spiritual awareness, when you go out of this reality, when your life is over, the spiritual awareness is the most important. And that's what people should work on, in my opinion. And that's why I created my course, to offer people that these techniques to help them with it. And Joshua says, and I like to comment on it, even that is a belief system, Jens. Yes, you cannot escape beliefs, right? But the thing is, do our beliefs align with truth or with falseness? And life will show you. If your beliefs align with falseness, it won't support you. If your beliefs align with truth, then it will support you. And I believe that we are immortal souls who grow in love and experience and in wisdom. I believe that, So that's why I say this. So yes, it is a belief, but I believe it aligns with divine truth. And we'll see, At the end of the ride, we'll see. At the end of the ride, we'll see. So let me see at some comments, because I was ranting here a little bit. So let me see if there's some comments I can answer. Zanyadi says, the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. Absolutely. And that is a kind of, how do you call it? I can't find the word in English now. I'm having a brain fart again. It's the word bescheiden in Dutch, but I sometimes, I have like Dutch and English going to my brain at the same time. So it's kind of hard. Help me out here. Bescheiden in English. Oh my God. Anyway, let me look at some other. Modest. Yes. Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, modest and humble. Yeah. So, you know, what you're saying, the more we know, the more we realize we know nothing, or we know so less. And that's the kind of modesty we need to have. Not modesty in the sense of I am small, I am nothing. No, we are great beings. We are immortal, great beings. But there is that kind of modesty, that kind of humbleness when you look at the universe and how big it is, and how much we don't know, how much we are in that human belief system. We are all in our boxes of perception, and we should let go of limiting beliefs, because that really limit us. So that's kind of that humbleness that I see not a lot of people having, honestly, sometimes in the space online. Um, so yeah, I think I'm at the end of the show here. So if there's any questions, I'm willing to answer them. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different show today. So I went into more like spirituality concept. Was not all conspiracy today. um, I'm gonna do another video tomorrow on Candace Owens, because there's a lot of happening with Candace Owens. If you That's why I mentioned Candace Owens also in the beginning. I'm gonna do like a card pull. I've been pulling cards for about a year now. But I'm getting more into the tarot cards, and I like to work with the intuition. So I'm gonna pull the cards on. There's gonna be a video out tomorrow on my channel on the health situations with Candace Owens, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. So thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another show of Freedom Frequency. Thank you. Bye bye.